actually, okay. I was gonna move on to an important segment, but let's do another one which is related to this. So,
what pastel colors?
Apparently, and Miss Love, you would be into this. So, the new premier Dominic, there were some details leaked where I think the Financial Review reported this, where they found out that there's plans of a 2 million people influx in New South Wales in the next 5 years. Immigrants, 2 million immigrants. This was very hush-hush, but it came out. As suspected, Dick Smith has his opinion. Dick Smith, right? The guy, the anti-population guy?
Yeah, Dick Smith.
Yeah, Dick Smith. He was obviously saying that there's just no infrastructure, the amount of houses you're going to need. This is horrible for climate change, all that stuff.
What?
Well,
that's
look, horrifying.
If
I agree with it, even as someone who believes in Big Australia, even I agree with Dick Smith in this scenario, because he's right that, look, I'll give you both perspectives. There's Dick Smith perspective, which you guys also have, and I would say that a majority of Australians have. Then their perspective is growth, baby. Like they're seeing, again, you need a certain amount of people to influence. Now, keep in mind that in the last 2 years, there's been barely any influx of immigrants. And New South Wales,
2 million extra. That doesn't even things out.
That's their plan. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I'll tell you one thing.
Oh my God!
Even if it doesn't, the 2 million thing doesn't happen, the number wouldn't be too far away for the next 5 years, because I think that's a plan. They need an influx of immigrants. One thing that's going to happen is most of the people that are on temporary residence today in Australia are probably going to get their permanent residency very soon.
Well, as long as they can't vote.
Well, they'll eventually vote.
But it's the same as all you know what? Dom Perrottet would really want an influx of immigrants, because that's what they're trying to portray in the media. They're trying to make a culture war out of the fact that he's Christian, and the reason they're doing that is because the western suburbs are mostly religious, and so if they keep saying he's a Christian, then all of those guys that own kebab shops that normally vote for the Labor Party are going to go, well, at least he believes in one God, so that's closer than these godless freaks in the Labor Party, and they'll vote for him.
They'll trust his judgment more.
Yeah. So it would make a lot of sense. It does benefit Dom Perrottet electorally, and on top of that, just in terms of staying in Premier, because what does his base want, which is just pure property developers, more people living in apartments that catch on fire.
Well, that's it. That's the crux of it. That's why they're doing it, because they know the people that come in. First of all, these people that are going to come in are going to bring money. They bring a certain amount of money until their permanent residency pathway, which is again a huge benefit for the New South Wales economy. Eventually, once they assimilate into society, get a job, they buy a house. They hire contractors, the wood that is required to build houses. It revitalizes everything, and that's part of his growth plan post-pandemic. Say what you want.
Wow, that's scary. So it's just the Liberal Party ethics on steroids, where we've already got a dearth of timber because of the bushfires, and so they're going deeper and deeper into really scarce ecosystems already, and they're just logging the shit out of them. And their plan is to just not let one tree stand in the state. In exchange for apartments like this.
True.
Wow.
And I'm even though I am pro more immigration, but all those points are true, and for that reason I would oppose it as well. Because if you look at the track record of mostly Liberal government in New South Wales, they've always promised a lot, but when it actually comes to assimilating immigration, creating that infrastructure that they would depend on, they do very little. And I'm sorry to say, Victoria is also similar in this.
This is the thing.
If you do it right, it's fine, but they've never done it right. And why would they do it with a 2 million sudden increase?
I really do think that if you're listening to Common Sense Brigade, anyone in it, you really should be spreading this message around Facebook while you still can before they shut it off. Liberals have doubled migration, halved infrastructure spending. Just keep posting that. Make that a message, because that will freak out the local population, including immigrants. Immigrants don't want more immigrants.
Yeah. because we fear that the more of them there are, the more diluted our services would be. But there is something like I don't personally hate I don't mind immigrants, and you guys know that. But again, you've got to do it in a sustainable way. These haphazard 2 million influx helps property developers. What's going to happen? It's going to be worse for us. They're going to The advantage is, sure, there might be a few extra jobs and everything, but the house that I'm supposed to buy, I'm almost 30, at some point in the near future, is only going to be way more expensive if there's an increasing demand by immigrants. So I have all the reasons to oppose this as well.
It's really scary that we are living in a time where living in a freestanding house is a true status symbol. Like owning a monkey in 19th century Paris. That's what.
Isn't that amazing? Metaphor.
Having a backyard. This is not the Australia that I was promised. But that is the Australian dream. It's to have a house that has lawn. And they're taking that from us.
Yeah,
where's my lawn?
and 2 million more immigrants, I don't see that going down. I just see that getting worse. I really, really, really want to be able to buy a house at some point in my life.
Dream on.
Dream on. But yeah, so that's a thing. Either way, look, we're going to see more immigrants coming in because there is a skills shortage as well, as they put it.
Yeah, but there's a skills shortage because they have ripped the guts out of TAFE and privatised it. That's why we have a skills shortage. I hate how they always make this argument. It's really scary to me when I hear this indoctrination of my own audience saying, how do you propose we make growth? There's a million ways to make growth. You don't have to make growth by just getting a giant firefighting plane and then just going over southwest Sydney and then just dropping it and then just all of these Pakistanis fall out of it.
Hey, why single out Pakis?
Just because I was looking at you and I couldn't think of another country.
but here's the thing. Most of them are brown. Most of them are from India, actually.
Hard-working people, they have made the western suburbs a hell of a lot less rough. I'll give them that. But it's purely, as Dick Smith points out, it is so bad for the environment to do this. So unbelievably bad. And that's exactly where they're dumping immigrants, which is southwest Sydney, last healthy koala population in the country, just getting paved over.
And I also have an incentive to oppose these drastic measures too. And this is I'm addressing to immigrants that somehow fall into the faction that believes in open borders kind of thing. I really don't want, for my own selfish reasons.
But do you think that there is immigrants that think that? I really don't think it is. I think it's people in the North Shore.
Well, there's one on that door. You guys can't see, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly, because they're not an immigrant and they have an affluent job and they're trying to make it this culture war thing. When we're talking purely logistics here and ecological sustainability.
I'm scared of it because of cultural wars. Because remember how when we were driving, I don't know from what city we were listening to Talkback Radio, how every call, one after the other, was immigrants, blah, 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 immigrants are shit for this reason, immigrants are shit for that reason. I don't want, look, what will happen is these 2 million people are not going to be poor people. These guys are going to be people that went to school, university, mostly have some kind of technical skill. They'll come to Australia and they'll make a good amount of money. And they'll buy houses that will drive up suburb prices in other places. And white boomers over there are going to have more reasons to hate on immigrants. And I don't want to live in an extremely toxic society. For my own reason, I want to be able to live in a society where any person, boomer, whoever, doesn't hate them just on the basis of skin color or country of origin. And so any way we can avoid that level of toxicity, I am on board for. Because I don't want to keep letting more immigrants in and people in Australia being more and more hostile for the benefit of property developers. It's just not a sustainable way. And even though if you believe that immigrants on a net are beneficial to society, I could even sympathize with that, but I still don't want more and more Pauline Hansons. I want it to be contained in a way that we look at the lowest common denominator that lives in regional Australia, that is about to go through one of the most insane transitions of moving. If you think about it, we are in a situation where Australia was largely a fossil fuel exporting country that is moving towards some kind of carbon neutral way. And there's going to be a lot of unemployed people. And you're going to get, on top of that, you're going to get 2 million other foreigners that are going to come here and have decent jobs. I don't know how that's going to play out politically. So I think we should just like maybe adjust for less growth and keep the immigration level sustainable so that we don't move towards a Trumpian society.
It really is scary to me how hard it is to explain what a cancer the coalition are on this country. Because it's amazing that everything that they claim to stand for, which is, lower immigration, they're trying to up it by 2 million. The party of free speech, they're shutting down the internet. Everything that they stand for, it's the exact opposite, and it's just this complete vacuum where you just cannot get that message out. It's really, I really don't like looking at politics because it's just this constant slow motion train crash. You can't do anything about it. I'm proud for everyone proud.